Donald Trump's birthday is associated with the zodiac sign of Gemini. He's going to, or has been, I should say, ripping off the stock exchange. He's going to do some things that line his pockets with money by manipulating the stock market.
It's close to the end of the year. So this is always a super up and down market. It's great for day trading. I love it. But yeah, it's going to be super volatile. And you're saying it might even be even more crazy than the past years.
Just prior to the crash. So it's like these aspects happen and then 6 months later was a crash, because that same aspect happened in March and April. And did we just have a mini crash? And it's similar to like a death and a rebirth. So things are going to blow up is what I'm predicting. And part of that blow up will be that there's going to be a real shift in money changing hands. He is going to make a tremendous amount of money in 2026. And I also noticed in his chart then, within that time frame, that his Pluto card is the 2 of diamond, which is the New York Stock Exchange, and the 10th house rules career. So where is he going to be disruptive? In his work. It lines up, right? I can tell your audience that Donald Trump's birth card is the 3 of diamond, and the 3 of diamond is the chaos card. So he has 4 card energies that would suggest making a lot of money. Last year, he was the guy that won the $1.3 billion Powerball.
The information provided in this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or other professional advice. All opinions expressed are those of the host and our guests and are purely speculative in nature. You should not rely on any information contained in this podcast to make financial decisions. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor or other professional regarding your specific situation. The host and guests disclaim all liability for any actions taken based on the content of this podcast.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Transmission Expansion. I'm your host, Lajoie Bradley, and today we have a very special guest. Her name is Donna Webb. She's here to talk to us all about cardology and the 2026 cardology predictions, which we talked about before the show, and I'm really excited to introduce this to y'all. 2026 is going to be crazy. Y'all thought like 2025 and like 2024 was crazy, but it's just, the craziness isn't going to end, and it's not going to get less crazy. So I'm so excited to have her on the show to talk about this.
Well, first of all, Lajoie, thank you very much for this opportunity to join your podcast and to talk to your audience. So as she said, my name's Donna Webb, and I am a cardologer. And probably many of you have never heard of cardology, which is surprising to me because everyone's heard of tarot, and tarot is a spinoff of cardology. Cardology is the ancient science behind playing cards. And I started to learn about this system about over 30 years ago. I was a middle school science teacher in Houston, Texas. I was teaching inner city kids, which I fondly look back at because those kids taught me how to be a good teacher. But I did have 1 year in particular of students that were really difficult. So I went to the New Age bookstore in Houston, and I was like, give me tools, anything. And I came across a book on cardology. And that's where my path with cardology began, again, 30 years ago, learning about it and applying it to my teaching. It helped me better understand my students and be a more effective teacher. So I went on and got my doctorate degree in education, but have always just, my heart's been in cardology. So about 3 years ago, I just decided to leave my job as an associate professor at a local university and do this full time.
Wow. I was talking about that with Cynthia. We're like, I wish academics, they had like a spiritual, like, I don't know, research topic or something. But I mean, academics are very academic and very science based, even if you are doing, language arts. So it's just like, it would be hard to convince a lot of people that it should be in the schools. But either way, I'm glad you're doing cardology like full time now. That's really cool. And it's so cool to learn that it helped you manage kids. Cause I've taught for a couple of years now, and God bless you for teaching middle school. I feel like middle school it takes a special teacher to teach middle school because they're going through everything, and everything is just, exaggerated. It's extra, and they don't know how to, like, they're trying to figure out themselves and everything. So that's really amazing. In my opinion, I'm really impressed because middle schoolers are like, it's another breed. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. And I did that for 20 years. I worked with middle school students for that long. I love to refer to them as the hormonally challenged.
Oh, I love that.
But I loved working with the kids. I mean, because they just have such amazing energy and there's so much potential. They're like really trying to find their sense of autonomy, and I really enjoyed being part of that journey with them.
And it's so cool that you actually use cardology. Can we talk about that real quick? How did it help you? Because I know even me, like I like knowing like their astrology signs, even if they don't necessarily believe in it. It still gives me a hint as to like their comfort zone. If they're like a fire sign, they love being the center of attention. I'll be like, hey, let me give you the attention. In this case, if that means it's going to make both of our lives a lot easier and more fluid. But how did you use cardology to help you really have a deeper connection with your students and to really help them through that, that process, that hard time of being a middle schooler and going from being a kid to becoming a teenager?
Right. Great question. So I'll give you one specific example. When I was teaching in Oregon, in the Beaverton School District, I had a student, I'll just call her Cindy, because for confidentiality reasons.
Yeah, of course.
So Cindy started out the year, no problems. And then about halfway through the school year, she really started having some like heightened social issues where she would just like get out of her chair and just go talk to other people when I'm in the middle of talking, and just off behavior, really. That wasn't like her. Her grades started slipping. In talking to other teachers that taught different subject matters, she was also having issues in their classes, and she was failing one of her other classes. So I looked up her card, and her birth card was a 9 of heart. And I know that 9 of hearts typically in their childhood deal with some kind of ending. See, cardology is a blending of astrology and numerology, and the 9 energy is all about endings. And often a 9 of heart child will have some grief, some loss, and it can manifest in different ways. But I had this feeling that, or an intuition that something was going on right around that time. So I asked her to come and have lunch with me one day, just to get to know her a little bit more. And she did. And in having a couple different lunches with her, I found out that her dad had passed away. He had had a heart attack 3 months beforehand, completely unexpectedly. And she was processing it and acting out through that process. So we ended up continuing to have lunch together, and I talked to her about the fact that sometimes when you go through grief in life, that it's something to learn from, but also can give us like certain skills in life that we can use later on. And I didn't tell her about cardology. I didn't talk about this, but I was using cardology in how I was talking to her. And I told her that something that I saw in her is that she has such compassion and care for other people. And she has the capacity, the potential in the future to be a counselor herself. And maybe the silver lining of what she was going through was to have like an experience in life where she could help other people go through grief, handle loss. And I even suggested that she apply for a position at school. She was in 8th grade. So 8th graders were allowed to be what are called peer counselors. Yeah. So I said, you would make with that skill set an excellent peer counselor. And then I also talked to the head counselor and said, hey, I think this would be a really good fit. Yeah. So she did apply. She became a peer counselor. And then, it just changed her life. She just started to bloom. And at the very next year, she came back. She went off to high school and she came back and she said that she continued doing the peer counseling in high school. And she just wanted to come back and tell me that it like changed her life, that she was just doing so much better. So that was all because I had knowledge of her cards.
You've gone to the retreats, sat in ceremonies, even worked with healers, and now you've been told that it's your turn to do the work. Well, this is that next step. I'm so excited to share with y'all that this year we have our first Transformation to Expansion event on September 9th, 2025, where we will be in ceremony together, releasing all the things that are blocking us from truly transforming into the new version of ourselves. So you can really go into 2026 as the new you and stop holding back. This is going to be a really powerful activation, y'all. I really don't want y'all to miss it. If you're one of the first 15 people to sign up, your ticket is completely free. So make sure to check the link in the description below for the link to the ticket for this event. I cannot wait to see y'all there. I love y'all so much. Yeah, I give you some context, right, to what she was going through at the time. And then you were able to find, there are students who I think are meant to be in leadership positions. They are meant to be helping out other people. They just haven't been given that opportunity, right? So that's really powerful. I love that. That's amazing. So real quick, so we know that cardology, originated from, well, it originated before even like tarot cards. And you know what's so funny? I just went through a collection of like 172 tarot cards, and a lot of the older ones, the ones that are like the Marseille, there's like a Marseille tarot deck. There's a Spanish one too. They just look like playing cards. It's not even, there's no fancy drawings. There's no, like it's not anything special really. Cause I'd be going like, these are not, that interesting to look at. But they're the original ones, right? They really did originally use playing cards. So, but a lot of people, I don't know what happened. Maybe tarot kind of took over, and that's why a lot of people don't know about cardology. But real quick, I'm going to tell you like a short story. Some of the audience kind of knows the story already. But when I was in, where was I? This was when I was in Tulum. This is during COVID. I wanted to help people out, and I wanted kind of a tool to help me do that, help me tap into my intuition in a way that people are like more comfortable with. A lot of people are comfortable with tarot. I didn't have a tarot deck with me. All I had was a deck of playing cards. And that's what I ended up using. Isn't that crazy? That's what I ended up using. And what was crazier, because not that I doubted it, but there's still a part of me that's like, this, I don't know, well, let's just do it. I was like, I'm doing free readings. So at this point, like, I don't, I'm just going to use what I have. A lot of the readings were spot on. Spot on. It was crazy. It was like I did this reading for this one woman, and I was like, yeah, it seems to be like not seems to be, but I was like, according to the cards, you're always attracting this athletic type of person into your life, but they end up being really toxic. And she was just like, that's it. And I was like, really? Like, I know part of me was just like, really? Because I'm just using playing cards. Like, I was like, but it worked. It was the same thing. And it was, again, like the details. I think for me, it was even more detailed than when I've used tarot cards. Like, it was really, really cool. So I used it kind of in that context. But I know with cardology, you can actually use it in a spread to look at people's energy throughout their life, throughout the year, I think we did we looked at the 7-year cycle also. And so real quick, for those of us, or for the people who don't know, can we look at, I think I'm a 6 of spades. So we'll look at my like birthday for that time and kind of give some context as to like how people can use cardology to really help them just manifest their best life and live their best life.
Again, cardology being the ancient science behind playing cards, the way that it works is that the day that you're born, you're associated with actually 2 cards. The first card is called your birth card. And this birth card is your authentic self, your true self, how you are on the inside. And that particular birth card that you're born into activates a series of 17 cards. I have my life spread, my 17 cards here in the background that indicates your life path, because that's what your birth card is all about, is the path that you have decided to incarnate into in order to learn lessons and spiritually grow in that lifetime. And that life path tells a lot about your strengths, your weaknesses, your life challenge, your past lives and related karma, your soul contracts, your life purpose. And then the second card you're associated with, that's called the planetary ruling card. And that's more how you appear to others, how you show up in the world. I actually look at the second card for career, because how you appear to others, your identity, how you are on the outside, how you show up, and is usually through work. So we'll use you as an example. Your birth card is the Six of Spade, which indicates to me that you're a very old soul. Spades are the oldest souls. So you have been here many, many, many times. And your card is called the Karma card. And so you tend to have a life that you're working out a lot of karmic relationships. It's also a card energy that you are all about trying to balance work life, and bring wisdom to others of how to balance their life. Your second card is a Queen of Club, which I resonate with because that's my first card. So you and I share that together. We're like card sisters, if you will. And what's interesting about that Queen of Club card, as I mentioned, it tends to talk more to your career. And that card is the Mother of Intuition card. It's the most intuitive card on the deck. So when you told me that you were using your intuition to do that reading with playing cards, I didn't doubt that for a moment, because that's one of your gifts, is really a high degree of intuition. It's also a card that's associated with giving service to your community through communication and knowledge as a career. And what are you doing now? You're serving your community through communication. So it fits perfectly. Now, the Queen of Club also in the life spread, you can see behind me, has this Ace of Spade in Jupiter. And Jupiter rules opportunities for success. For instance, like work. And the top card there is the Ace of Spade, which just happens to be the metaphysical card. It happens to be the card that represents the whole system of cardology. So the fact that you were in that moment giving a reading with the playing cards and you were tapping into the metaphysics of the cards totally tracks, because you as well have that energy, having the Queen of Club as your planetary ruling card.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I don't know, I always say the intuition thing in this time and space can be a double-edged sword. And it was like something that I definitely, even as kids, we tap into really early. But I think for me, I had to learn to keep my mouth closed, because like it was like I knew too much and people didn't like that. So,
right, as an old soul, you did. And so the other aspect of your card too is that you get immediate karma in life. So if you were to cross into a boundary with someone, or get in trouble for something, you would immediately, there'd be a consequence for it. There'd be immediate karma back.
Mm-hmm. Is that just for the Six of Spades, or is it for all the spade cards?
No, it's specific to the Six of Spades.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's true. It's true. I always tell people, like, I have like one lesson and then that's it. Like I can, if I really want to, I do it twice. But by the second time, I'm like, wait, okay, there's no point anymore. Whereas other people, they'll repeat the same thing over and over and over again, because they don't necessarily get that immediate karma, or the karma won't come to them until, decades later. Which I feel like, yeah, I guess now it's a blessing.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like when I was a kid, it was different.
Kids that have your card that struggle with it because they take on, not understanding it, they can take on like a victim mentality. Like, why is it that I always get caught? Why is it that there's always a consequence for me when my friends, for example, don't get caught, or they do something bad, but there's no negative consequence? So I could totally see how a younger child would feel that way. But the empowering part about your card is that you have this manifestation power that if you put out the good karma, it will come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really an interesting kind of power to have, I think, because there's no limit to that.
That's so interesting. I never thought of it in that context, actually, but yeah, it's really powerful. It's really yeah, it's weird because I've just come through my Saturn return. I feel like my Saturn return blocked all that. Like, I'm gonna be real. Blocked all of that. It was like, no. You're not gonna get this. You got to deal with this first. But even now that I'm out of it, there's been a lot of opportunities presented to me that I'm like, this is like really crazy too. Like, you just, I don't know how to explain it, but you really attract opportunities that are meant to do good for people, if that makes sense. I mean, I think everybody tries to or says that, it's good for everybody, but sometimes I'm like, is it? You gotta turn your head a little bit, be like, I don't know if that's really good for everybody, but okay. But even now I'm getting these opportunities presented to me, and they really are like for the good of the people, which it's really cool. But it's also nice to know, I guess, that if I do, because I'm the type of person, even when I was in high school and college, my options were, UN or NGO or nonprofit. Like, I didn't even like, it's so funny now, because I think now, like, the culture is very much like money, 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 money. But even then I was like, no, I just want to work for the people. Like, I just want to, like, do good, which led me down like a whole nother path. But it's so it's just interesting because, yeah, even without trying, I'll just attract that good karma to me, or the people who are trying to, create good karma in the world. Which is, it's nice. It's nice. I don't have to try. It just kind of comes to me. So, but yeah, those Saturn returns, they be blocking stuff. Like, we ain't gonna get into it, but man.
Yeah, it's because I just finished my second Saturn return.
Oh, wow.
And so it is a little different. It's a little easier than the first one, but yeah, it's definitely a time where you look back. You got to deal with the stuff in the past before you can move forward. So it's a timing thing.
Okay, good. Okay, good to know. Yeah, because it is making me scared for the second one. I don't know if I'm gonna go through it again. It was a lot. It's intense. It's intense. But what I really wanted to focus on today was kind of the 2026 predictions, because when we first met at the spiritual fair, we were talking about, well, because I'm just curious about the future and about everything. But I know right now, everybody's talking about, especially astrologers are talking about Uranus and Gemini, and how it's just going to make things crazier. Communication is just going to be crazier because Uranus rules communication, and then Gemini is like, oh no, yeah, Gemini rules communication, and then Uranus is more about, well, it's also about communication, but it's full of surprises. I think that's the best way to put Uranus. It's full of surprises. Good surprises, bad surprises. There's no, with Uranus, there's no like either or, it's both. It's both. And so everybody's really being prepared for this time that we're going to come into, because it's going to be like this for the next 7 years. And so we know a lot about what people are talking about on the astrology side, but I wanted to know, what are the cards looking like for 2026? What does the cardology say, which is a mix, like you're saying, a mix again of astrology and numerology. Hey y'all, did your vibration get a serious boost from this week's podcast? I know mine did. And I'm willing to bet there's a whole community that also feels the same way. Wait, actually, there is a whole community. That's right. On Facebook, we now have the Transformation to Expansion community, where we actually have weekly discussions about the podcast episodes, and we even try out the freebies all together as a community to help us stay accountable. So definitely go ahead and check that out. The link is in the description below, and I'll see y'all there. Peace.
So let me give a little background knowledge first of how cardology works. As I mentioned before, it is the original divination tool. So when I say divination, I mean it can predict the future. And the reason for that is that each birth card is predestined to experience very specific yearly energies across their lifetime. And when I say yearly, I mean according to your birthday year, not a calendar year. And I have a software system that allows me to look at what those yearly energies are. And those energies are highly accurate. I mean, crazy accurate in how they can predict things that are going on in your life, whether you will have a new job, whether you'll find a new love, what will happen to your finances, like it, or your health. Like it does not cease to amaze me of how that tracks.
Mm-hmm.
However, a lot of people question me. They say, well, does that mean everything's destined? Well, no, because you have free will. And so the way I like to explain it is that these energies, as a certain birth card, you take in, and then you get to manifest them according to your free will. And there's higher and lower manifestations of these energies. So I'll give you a quick example. So 2 years ago, I knew that my main energy for the year was going to be a 3 of club. And a higher manifestation of the 3 of club energy is that it's creative expression. It's the writer's card. It's Stephen King's birth card, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why he's such a great writer. The lower expression of that energy is stress. But if you think about it, those two things are actually connected. If you're a person who's experiencing energy where you've got all these ideas, creativity inside you that need to be outwardly expressed, but you don't express them, you keep them bottled inside, it can manifest stress and anxiety. So knowing I had that as my main energy for the year, I was like, well, I don't want to be stressed out. So that was the year I wrote a lot, and I wrote a book. And that was the year that I wrote and then the next year published my book. So the idea being that you should leverage these energies and have like some way of understanding the energies so that you can leverage them to the highest manifestations. Okay. So, and it's real important too, to align yourself to those energies and not resist them. Because if you resist them, then the universe tends to like hit you over the head, get you like back on track and whatnot. So as an example, another example, in my little chart back here, I have the 17 cards yearly spread of a man by the name of Chang. Mm-hmm. And this is an actual person that lives in Northeast Portland. And this is his yearly spread at age 46. And looking at this spread, I see some really significant cards that stand out. I see that he has a 9 of diamond in Jupiter. And while 9 of diamond can be a loss of money in Jupiter, it's expanded. It means affluence. He also has an 8 of diamond environment and a 10 of diamond displaced. The 8 of diamond and 10 of diamond are the most powerful financial cards you can have. So he also has, this is long range, the 7 of diamond, which is the millionaire's card. So he has 4 card energies that would suggest making a lot of money. Well, I don't know if you heard about this guy. Last year, he was the guy that won the $1.3 billion Powerball.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Did you hear about him on the news?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So he's an immigrant that had been diagnosed with cancer, and he was undergoing chemo, and he was really afraid he would leave his family destitute. So he bought a whole bunch of lottery tickets and put them under his pillow and wished and wished and wished that he would win. And that's what that 10 of diamond displaced is. It means if you wish for something financially, it can happen. So it came true for him. And this explains it. So in looking at the end of 2025 into 2026, I decided to look at the yearly spreads for some significant people. So I have printouts here. I have Donald Trump's yearly spreads. I have also what the Cardology can do is look at yearly spreads for institutions or places. So the United States has a spread because the United States birthday is July 4th, 1776, right? So I can plug that into my software system and get yearly spreads. I also looked up the New York Stock Exchange. When was it birthed? And the New York Stock Exchange was birthed May 17th, 1792. So just going by that, I can tell your audience that Donald Trump's birth card is a 3 of diamond, and the 3 of diamond is the chaos card.
It's so pointed.
Right? I mean, the 3 is like, containment, blah, right? It's a scattered energy in monies and values, particularly values for him.
Yeah, it
But
seems diamonds are the money card, or the money family, I guess, diamonds, right? So, okay.
Yes, exactly. And Donald Trump's birthday is associated with the zodiac sign of Gemini. And so here you have a person who is a Gemini, is the chaos card. And starting July 7th, Uranus is moving into Gemini. And Uranus is the disruption energy. It is the planet that rules some chaos. So put that all together, and there's going to be, after July 7th, when Uranus moves into Gemini, it's going to lighten that up for him. And Donald Trump's sun sign is in his 10th house, and the 10th house rules career. So where is he going to be disruptive? In his work. It lines up, right?
Oh, that's hilarious. It's not hilarious. Like, I know it's gonna be crazy, but it's just funny because, right? Because at this time in space, a career, it doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna be the president of the United States. He could just be a CEO, right? But it just so happens that he's a president of a country when this is happening. So it's like, that's
exactly.
It's a little comical, a little bit.
And then the New York Stock Exchange is associated with the 2 of diamond birth card, and that's the wheeler dealer card. And that totally fits it because people wheel and deal through the stock exchange. The United States has a birthday associated with the Jack of Diamond birth card, and the Jack of Diamond is like the young energy because we're a newer country. It's the energy of a salesperson in capitalism.
Yeah. I was like, it's given the salesperson who might be deceitful a little bit just to get the sales. Not all the time, but some, like, it's like, yeah, as soon as you said Jack of Diamonds, I was like, oh, wow, okay.
And the Jack of Diamonds is also all about like wanting freedom. It's that young energy of that Jack young energy wanting to be playful and a little irresponsible. They want to play, they want their freedom. And so that's why, of course, we have been a democracy in providing some freedoms for the people that live there. So it totally tracks. Now, in terms of what I'm predicting with looking at these yearly spreads, I'll start with some of the stuff that I see with Trump. What I see with him, and it overlaps his age because this energy actually starts for him at age 79 and goes into him at age 80. But at age 80, he has that 10 of diamond, 8 of diamond in Jupiter. As I mentioned,
I'm sorry. He's 80?
He will be next year.
Oh, he's old. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny how he talked about Joe Biden being old, and it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black, right?
I feel like there should be a cap, age limit. But anyway, okay, go ahead.
I agree with you. I think even for
too old.
Yeah, for Congress too, it should be an age limit. It's ridiculous. So he has this 10 of diamond, 8 of diamond, the two best money cards in Jupiter, which rules work and money. Mm-hmm. So that indicates he is going to make a tremendous amount of money in 2026. And I also noticed in his chart then within that time frame, that his Pluto card is the two of diamond, which is the New York Stock Exchange. Pluto is the planet of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that that is his Pluto card, there's going to be a huge transformation in his life through the stock exchange. The Pluto card is also interpreted with the reward card, and the reward card for him during this same time frame is Jack of Spade, which is the ripoff card. So putting all of this information together leads me to believe that he's going to, or has been, I should say, ripping off the stock exchange. He's going to do some things that line his pockets with money by manipulating the stock market.
So have you ever felt like you're meant for more? You're here for a reason. Something inside of you knows that there's more. There's more purpose. There's more connection. There's more fulfillment. There's more love to be enjoyed in this life. What if all of that was here right now? Your life easier to navigate, your dreams easier to manifest. You can live in a life of ease, even in these uncertain times with Pluto being in Aquarius. Your community of expansion is right here at your fingertips. From the moment you enter, you feel the sense of release and comfort. No more wondering if all those downloads you got as a kid were just random thoughts. No more wondering that time you had telepathy, thinking that it was just a fluke. Be with the people you know are here for you. Join our ever-expanding community on Patreon for free. And for those of you who ask, yes, the Wellness Library is included. I love y'all so much. Let's get back to the show. Peace.
He also has next year a two of diamond as his cosmic lesson. The cosmic lesson is just that, where it's a lesson, a hard lesson you could learn even through the universe. And that would suggest that maybe he takes things too far. So with that information, I thought, okay, well, I'm going to look at the New York Stock Exchange and see what's going on here. And what I'm seeing starting in the fall of 2025 is a five of diamond in the New York Stock Exchange, Jupiter. And the five of diamond literally means money changing hands.
Yeah.
And then moving further into 2026, it has a seven of diamond in Venus. Venus rules finances too. And the seven of diamond is financial challenges. And guess whose card's right underneath it? The three of diamond. So the challenges are caused by Trump. Also, the New York Stock Exchange has an ace of spade as its Pluto card. And the ace of spade is the transformation card in Pluto, the transformation planet. It's like a double whammy of transformation that will occur. And it's similar to like a death and a rebirth. So things are going to blow up is what I'm predicting. And part of that blow up will be that there's going to be a real shift in money changing hands. And what's interesting about that is there is a lot of talk in the astrology world about there being some astrological aspects that are coming up in the fall that are very similar to aspects that were seen in 1929. Yeah, but it also was preceded by the stock market crash, right? In the fall of 1929. And what I'm specifically talking about for those of you, I'm not an astrologer, so this is something that I learned by listening particularly to the astrology podcast. It's a really good podcast to listen to. But the aspects at work here are that Mars is going to retrograde in Cancer and Venus is going to retrograde in Aries. And that combination of aspects is exactly what was going on in 1929, just prior to the crash. So it's like these aspects happened, and then 6 months later was a crash. And there was actually a mini crash at the time of these aspects, which interestingly mirrors what just happened in the United States, because that same aspect happened in March and April. And didn't we just have a mini crash?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first week of April, there was a mini crash. And you heard probably that Trump announced through Truth Social, good time to invest. So he was telling his people, money's going to change hands. Mm-hmm. So if you invest now, because I'm manipulating the stock market, you can make money. And that's what just happened recently. Yep. Is the stock market went down 10%, a mini crash, so to speak. But then there are other things that are at work that would suggest that 6 months from that time frame, there is potential for another crash. So I think that there could be some real volatility that begins in September and October, a lot of upheaval. Oh, yeah. And then that's going to carry on into 2026. So that, in terms of talking about predictions for 2026, there's going to be a lot of upheaval because of this money changing hands that is basically being manipulated, I think, by Donald Trump.
That's it for part 1. I will see you next week in part 2. Peace.